Welcome to Rediscovering the Beatles with Mark Morris. I'm Mark. Today we're going to talk about the Beatles solo singles and Beatles books, and I'll be asking for your recommendations. Let's get started. Last week I went over some of my Beatles singles that I've been collecting lately. This week I thought it would be fun to go over some of the solo Beatles singles I've been collecting. If you haven't been to my page before, I'm trying to reacquire the collection of records I gave away in the 1990s, especially Beatles and Beatle-related things. I used to not be so interested in the singles, but once I started replenishing my vinyl collection, I've decided that these singles are kind of fun, not so much to listen to, but more as a collector of things to have. I do listen to them at least once when I get them, just because I think it's fun. But I thought I would go over some of the solo ones. It's not a large collection, so this won't be long. But then I want to also discuss some of the books I've gotten lately and get some of your recommendations. Also, with this being Yoko Ono's, I believe, 91st birthday, this singles thing's going to come in handy because she has some B-sides on some of these singles that we can discuss. So let's start off right away with my John Lennon singles. Again, these aren't super rare or anything like that. They're just fun things I like to collect. So this is Imagine, and on the back side is Working Class Hero. I'm not Imagine, I think, is a good song. One thing about Imagine, though, is I think it's been overplayed so much that it doesn't hold the magic that it used to with me. A lot of FM and AM radio, they play this song as if it's the only song that John Lennon ever wrote in his solo career. I stopped listening to AM, FM radio for that purpose. It just seemed like they weren't doing anything to really draw me in. If they played Neil Young, it was always Heart of Gold. If they played John Lennon, it was usually Imagine. This is actually a German pressing. Though I'm not super thrilled with the song Imagine anymore, I still like it and I still think it's a great song. But the B-side of this is Working Class Hero. And Working Class Hero may be my all-time favorite John Lennon song from the Plastic Ono Band album. I do love that song a lot, and I do play it a lot. Then the next one I got, and we'll get into some of the Yoko stuff with this next one, is Instant Karma. I'll get that later. Instant Karma, We All Shine On, and then the B-side is Yoko Ono, Who Has Seen the Winds. So if you're only vaguely aware of Yoko Ono, most people associate her with that screaming, that revolutionary modulation, I think she calls it. But on this song, Who Has Seen the Wind, it is actually, dare I say it, a pretty song. It really is a nice little song. I was glad to listen to it. I listened to all these singles just before I came on camera today. And it is actually a pretty little song, and you may like it. It's a good B-side to Instant Karma, which I do love to this day. The radio hasn't overplayed that to the point where it has killed it for me. The other singles I got, it's just these Apple black covers, but there's Cold Turkey, with the B-side being Don't Worry Kyoko, Mummy's Only Looking for a Hand in the Snow. Now, this is a song that Yoko wrote during the custody battle with her ex-husband and her daughter Kyoko. She was trying to get some communication through with her. I don't think they actually met until the 1990s, but this is more like you might remember Yoko. It starts off. This is not something I will probably listen to much. This is more the Primal Scream stuff. It's the music is kind of interesting. Apparently, one of the riffs came from the unreleased track "Watching Rainbows," a Lennon McCartney song, and that's kind of interesting, and I like the sound of that. If somebody ever wrote me a song about not worrying, and then I heard this, it would make me worry plenty. There's a lot. Sounds like a lot of anxiety involved there, which would be expected when you are trying to contact your lost daughter. But then we have "Give Peace a Chance," and then on the back side is Yoko's "Remember Love." And again, this song is more of her sweet voice. It's almost a girlish, high-pitched, sweet voice. Not a great song, but it is a listenable song and not unpleasant. Then for my other solo Beatle singles, I got this Japanese version of Wings, I guess, and it is Venus and Mars and Rock Show on one side, and then on the other side is Magneto and Titanium Man. I love all these songs. These are kind of Venus and Mars. I've always liked that song. Rock Show, to be honest, I like the song. I don't relate to the song very much. I'm not a real big concert goer is the problem. I have a bit of agoraphobia, and big crowds sometimes are not pleasant for me. I've gone to lots of cool concerts, but I'm not one who's like, yes, there's a concert, I can go. I did get myself to go to Paul McCartney's concert last time he was in the area. And then on the flip side, Magneto and Titanium Man. Silly song, but I like it. I like the way it sounds. It is just kind of a fun song. But that's my single, lyrics in Japanese and English back there. And then for Ringo, I got this more for the cover than the song. I actually like Photograph more than I like You're 16. But You're 16, and then on the back is Devil Woman. I remember one of my brothers having this single when I was a kid, and just being fascinated by the cover. For George Harrison, I went with When We Was Fab. Of course, this is an awesome song, one of my favorite George Harrison songs. And on the back was Zigzag. You can see the Dark Horse label. I've talked about when George Harrison sent me an autographed picture once, and I often talk about the envelope, how I wish I would have saved the envelope. I was 14 years old, I think. And this was on the return address. That's my dog. There's a groundhog out there that burrows under my house, and she hears it and she goes crazy. Elsa is done barking at the groundhog. I'm going to continue. This is a weird little bootleg I got just out of curiosity. It has a very unlikely label for what it is. Look at that label. You'd think it was like for a horror record or something. But this is an acoustic bootleg version of George Harrison playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps. I was just kind of interested in it. I usually don't buy bootlegs, but I've just been getting kind of interested in them lately. But look at that label. That's just, I would never associate that with George Harrison and While My Guitar Gently Weeps. So those are my singles. Now I want to show you some of the books I've been reading lately and then get your recommendations. Now I used to have a fairly decent Beatles book collection. In the 1990s, about the same time I was giving away my records just because I was going to move everything to CDs because they were more portable. I lived in this basement apartment. I've lived in a lot of basement apartments in my time. This one, though, I was excited about because when I moved in, it had a built-in bookshelf in the wall. And I've never had like a built-in bookshelf like that. And I was like, oh man, this is cool. So I put all the books I really wanted to show off in that bookshelf. And so a lot of my Beatle books, especially the ones that were heavily photograph filled, were in that bookshelf. Well, I came home from work one day, I opened the door and I hear this, it sounds like somebody's taking a shower in my living room. I walk in, there's a pipe, a water pipe, right above the bookshelf that had broken. And it was just pouring down on all my books. I was so angry. If you're renting, renter's insurance is something to think about. But a lot of these books were irreplaceable. It didn't only ruin several of my Beatle books, but lots of the books that I'd loved and collected over the time, some of them autographed. I was so frustrated. I tried to save them. I thought I could maybe dry them out. No, they got moldy. They were all warped, and I ended up throwing the whole batch out. After that, I didn't invest much in Beatle books. I still bought books, but I wasn't buying the things. One of the books that got destroyed was one of my favorite ones on John Lennon called One Day at a Time. I'd had since the 1970s. But I hadn't really been buying books. And then I saw Matthew Street on his YouTube channel was really talking about these Bruce Spizer books. So I went to order one, and then, on Amazon, how you order one, they say, hey, maybe you'd like these other two and get them all at this price. Well, I am a marketing person's dream because I fall for all that. So I ended up getting 3. But this is the one I started reading last night. Matthew was absolutely right. Very fun read. Great writer. Really writes in a way that's accessible, I guess you would say. I will try to link to Matthew's channel where he talks about these books, if I remember. And then, so I started reading this last night. This is the one about Abbey Road. But then I got a couple others. The Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine. And then this one, I was surprised but happy to get it. I thought everything I'd ordered was paperback, but this one's a hardback. It came in a hardback. The Beatles, Please Me to With the Beatles. And these things are so full of information and photographs. I'm very excited about reading these. So when I'm not listening to the Beatles, I'll be. This is the first one I'm reading. I'll give you updates as I go along. But anyway, Bruce Spizer is somebody I'd never read before, so I'm very excited about that. And then the other things, this thing is full of dog hair, believe it or not. I did get this when it came out, Paul McCartney's The Lyrics. This is the double hardback edition. Really great stuff. But then for Christmas, one of my bosses, Tracy, she got me the paperback version, which is much more manageable. This is just full of interesting stuff. One thing I'm curious about, and if somebody knows, I would love you to mention this in the comments. One of the songs I love by Paul McCartney on Abbey Road is "Oh Darling," and I know it's a simple kind of 50s song, but I really like it. And I know there's a story to it because I know he came in early and sang it several times trying to get that voice, like he'd been in a concert all week long or something. And so I know there's a story. I'm just surprised it's not in this book. I went to look it up and it's not in there. So if anybody knows, I haven't found anything online that explains why "Oh Darling" is not in this book, but I'm just curious. Otherwise, it's a really great book. I've been reading that. That's not one I like read from cover to cover, but if I think of a song, I'll like, I wonder what the story is behind that. Found out lots of great information. So those are the books I've been looking at recently. If anybody has some recommendations, please put them in the comments. I would love to check out some more books. Remembering that I work for a nonprofit organization and I'm not a rich person, so I usually have to get paperback versions of things unless they're on a special or on sale. So those are my books that I've been reading lately. Those are my singles. Thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you did, you can like this video, and if you really liked it, you could subscribe to this. Really helps the channel, I guess, and gets me out there in the world. So thank you for watching. This video has found you in a place in your life where you're healthy, you're happy. I would advise, if you're not, that you can do things to help yourself. One of the reasons I started this channel was because I had been going through a deep depression, and I realized as I listened to more Beatles and stuff, I was happier because I started reinvesting in the Beatles. I started buying records again. I started reading books again. And the more I found interest in things outside of me, the happier I was. That's my recommendation to you. Find something that you love and are passionate about and try to surround yourself with it. And thank you for watching. I'm glad that you're here. And I hope your day goes well. I hope your week goes well. I hope your year goes well. And I hope you have a good life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.